Hello and welcome to Zero Point Energy, with a 0 point what we talk about and just as much energy. I'm Sean.
And this is Jorge.
And tonight we are talking about one of my current new favorite entries into a long-running franchise that I've been a lifelong fan of. We are watching Gundam Requiem for Vengeance.
Yeah, this is an interesting, weirdly made Gundam because it's once again where they leave the hand-drawn animation behind and they go full computer.
Not just full computer, but full, it's not just full digital, it's full CG. They haven't done that since the early 2000s with Project Igloo. And that looked horrible. I mean, it looked like PS2 graphics because it was made with a fucking PS2.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't made with a PS2, but that was the height of CG technology at the time, was getting PS2 graphics out of shit.
Okay, I was going to say, because it sounded for a second like, did they make a PS2 version of the PS3, like, what is it called, supercomputer that they did, like the military?
I mean, they did. That just wasn't what they used to do with Project Igloo. Which, MS Igloo it's good in its own right, and it's another one of those great examples, if you're a big fan of the franchise for Gundam, that shows the gritty reality of war and kind of the scale of mobile suits versus humans. But Igloo is also like one of those projects that shows the standoff of a single soldier standing toe-to-toe against the Zaku.
Yeah, I mean, this is part of, like, 8th MS team. The one with the kid, something gun in pocket or whatever that one's called.
War in the Pocket.
That's it, War in the Pocket, yeah. It was, like, it's grim, it's dark, but it's also, like, the true reality of war and trying to actually just live through this shit.
Yes. And what we're watching for this episode is we did the first 3 episodes of this 6-episode OVA on Netflix.
And it's a Netflix-sponsored one, so it'll be there for a while. Watch it, people. It's good.
Yes, it's Netflix exclusive, Netflix sponsored. It was made to be in English, so English is the primary language, Japanese is the secondary. So, if you find yourself, if you're a sub snob where like, oh, I have to watch it in its original language, the original language for this project is English. So, Japanese is the dub, you dumb fucks.
Yes, right up there with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Gem and the Holograms.
Yeah.
Except for one thing. The lip flaps still don't match somehow.
You know what? They put very, like, I don't want to say they put no love into it. It's just they put less love into the human characters animations for this, and all the love into the vehicles and the mobile suits.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
They are beautifully animated. They are gracefully animated. And then the humans are stiff, and sometimes they basically stick figures getting dragged across the screen.
Yeah, they still look somewhat like that, but the computers...
they look great. They just, their animations are stilted.
No, yes, you're right. They look great, but the acting, we'll call it, the movement, it looks like...
Yeah, you can really tell the difference between the people who were motion captured and the ones who were not. And even some of the ones that were motion captured, they did their best. But obviously the focus was not humans.
Like, I wonder if that was, like, quote-unquote kind of on purpose. Like, the beauty of mobile suit is literally the mobile suit. Fuck the humans, or we only have so much money, just focus on them, you know?
I'm probably a little column A, a little column B. This show is also entirely animated using the Unreal Engine 5 from Epic Games.
If any of y'all, like, are internet watchers, YouTube and such, you might have seen the recent, like, Unreal Engine 5 demos using, what was it, Cyberpunk, and I forgot the other game, but
yeah.
The idea was, this looks so fucking photorealistic.
And
like, that's not the case here. It looks beautiful, just not that good.
Well, this is one of those things that for the fanboys out there who like, I can't wait till video games start getting made in Unreal because look at all these demos that they put out that look awesome. They are tech demos. They're going to look awesome. This show is the best example of let's entirely animate in Unreal like they would do cutscenes for a video game. But this is also the unrealistic expectation of Unreal. Video games are not going to look this pretty when they start mass using Unreal for games. They just won't. They're going to look beautiful. This show looks beautiful. Some of those tech demos for Cyberpunk and Call of Duty are gorgeous and they look so real. But that is what happens when you push an animation engine, a rendering engine, to its absolute max with the best technology possible behind it and a damn near unlimited budget. What video game company has an unlimited budget?
Yes. Now, with that being said, that's pre-rendered, okay? If we're talking about video games, like you're saying, that's all, well, okay, not all, but mostly nowadays, rendered in real time. Nothing will look that good. Literally nothing. Maybe in a couple decades, probably, but yeah.
And that's why I would say that this show is a better representation of what Unreal is capable of versus like that Cyberpunk tech demo that they put out. Because this is, they're using a lot more of the drag and drop assets. Like you can see it in the backgrounds and in interviews with people who worked on this project. They even say that they used a lot of the pre-rendered assets that are in the engine and just drag and dropped and then animated from there. Which is basically how any video game producer is going to make video games. They are not going to take the months, the weeks, months, years it takes to create unique animations or unique assets. Like there'll be a handful of them, but for the most part, they're going to drag and drop the shit that's already there.
Yeah, I mean, freaking history of beautiful animation. Like there was Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, like the beginning and ending animations for games like Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy EX, you know what I mean? Like the actual ending, like pre-rendered, beautifully done animations.
Now, what this will also help with video games, though, is because they created some unique animations and some unique assets for the Unreal Engine for this show, those assets are now... They now exist in Unreal. So, if Bandai agrees to open source them with Unreal, you're going to have some of these weapons, or maybe not the mobile suits, but you'll have some of these assets that can be drag and dropped in that will look good. Because that's why so many games made with different rendering engines, like Unreal 3 and 4, they don't look good the beginning of the cycle. They look great at the end of the cycle. After you make 40, 50 games using that engine, you have this library of millions of assets.
Like, I wonder if this, because of how realistic and beautiful it looks, would this start a revolution akin to the 3D printer revolution where people keep making their own shit and publishing it online? Some of them for free, some of them you have to pay for, but similarly you pay for different little assets that you might buy. Like somebody decides to 3D scan and then implement physics for a Tito's bottle like we saw here.
Yeah, possibly that could work. I know one cool thing because of the show, because of these super detailed digital images that they made, Bandai took the scans from the show when they created the molds for the models for the Zaku 2 for this show. There's a high-grade model that's been released for it already, and there's also a high-grade model for the Gundam EX, which is the main Gundam from the show. And they are so well detailed for high-grade models. Like, they are master-grade quality in a high-grade model. And that's just because, these are super detailed renders that you've got all this detail off of. You use that scan and make a negative mold and then inject the plastic into it. It's also going to have decent detail on it.
Okay, I'm not one for figures or for models, but yes, I always loved how detailed they are. I really want to see this type of model to see how, like, are we talking like little microscopic, like bullet hole type things, or
Not quite that microscopic, but like the panel lines, they really pop on their own. Like you really see that detail. You see that kind of mechanical difference between even a model made a couple years ago that was still off of those hand-drawn models versus this one, which is all CG. Like, you really see that difference between how detailed the modeling software alone has come in just a few years.
goddamn, just like even PS4 days, there was pre-rendered animations, but not pre-rendered graphics anymore. Like literally, it was acted in the game engine itself. There wasn't so much pre-rendered stuff because it looks good. Fuck it, you know?
Yeah. So that's kind of enough fangirling over this for now.
Hey, fanboying.
Yeah.
Respect my jet. No, I'm kidding.
So we'll finally start talking about the actual story of this. Requiem for Vengeance is set during the 1-year war timeline. It's in the Universal Century, but is the alternate timeline Universal Century. This is set in the Gundam The Origin alternate universe. So it still follows the 1-year war. It just there's minor differences, little tweaks here and there. Nothing super canon breaking or anything like that. It's just, if you're a big franchise fan, you know.
This specifically takes place within the Odessa offensive in Romania. In Cluj-Napoca, well, part of it is the Battle of Cluj-Napoca.
Yes.
We have the captain, Iria Solari, which is kind of our main character. Like, we follow her mostly, but not exactly. At least not at the beginning.
No, she's the main character of this. Captain Solari and her team, the Red Wolves, are like the main Zeon characters for this story.
Wow. Okay.
I like making noises sometimes.
Basically, they're taking the EFF, Federation. The Federation mobile base that they have there, they succeed until suddenly they're descended upon by the, is it white or black devil in this one?
White. This is, for those in the know, in all of Gundam, at some point they started referring to the Gundam as the White Devil or the White Demon, which is technically never actually said in the original Gundam. It was something that popped up in one of the manga at some point, and just all of the fans just somehow it stuck with them that the Gundam is the White Devil or the White Demon. And this show is meant to be the in-universe canon reason why the Zeon refer to Gundams as the White Demon or the White Devil. And it's because this Gundam, the Gundam EX, it's a prototype ground assault Gundam. It just looks so intimidating. Like it doesn't have all of its armor yet because it is a prototype, so it looks kind of skeletonized. The face, the ventings on it look more like, it makes it look more like a skull. And Gundam, through all media that we see Gundam, especially 1-year war type Gundams always have red or blue eyes. Green or blue eyes. And this Gundam, the Gundam EX, has red eyes.
Yeah, it's a scary looking motherfucker. It really is. Like, there's a scene where they specifically have it against the, like, explosive fire, and you can see it, like, shining off of its armor, and it's like, or skeleton, and it looks creepy as fuck.
Yeah, like, the first time you're introduced to the Gundam EX, there's an explosion, and then you see it do the cool guy, cool guys don't look back at explosions thing, walking through the fire, and you just see the smoke cloud swirl around it and then show the silhouette of a mobile suit, and then it steps out into the light of the fire, and it's just this giant white skeleton with these glowing demonic eyes boring into the soul of the main character, who at this point has had her Zaku blown up and he's just looking up at this thing from the ground like, oh my god, we're gonna die.
And the thing is, she knows for a fact that a lot of people will, because she's a new type. She's like, this fucker's coming.
Yeah.
And, like, she gets this weird, like, it's been done in science fiction before, but, like, that weird, like, ringing sound. Like, oh,
yeah,
fuck.
They created a new sound for the new type tingle in this one. So instead of the... It's more of just a hiss and a buzz. And it makes her, like, she focuses her attention on that for a second. And it's that whole, oh, she's getting a feeling. She's got a premonition.
Now, the premonition thing is a little weird in this one because it doesn't look as pained as it does in the original. You know what I mean? Like, Amuro always kind of looked at like a little pained, like, oh shit, I have a headache. Like, here it looks more like I can sense danger and then run. It wasn't as dramatic as it is.
Depending how intense of a situation it is. Like, the first time you see Solari feel it, she knows... She gets this feeling that the base that they just took over is booby-trapped. And she knows the bombs that are set are going to explode just before they explode, so she can warn people. So, and you see the premonition kind of stagger her, but not give her pain. But then when she feels the Gundam approaching, she puts her hand up and clutches her head. Like, this is giving her a migraine. Like, this is pain. This is the premonition of death.
And slowly, as the series goes on, it gets a little less painful and a little more time she has before she can actually act.
Yeah. It also just, again, depends on the intensity of the situation. Like, towards the end of episode 2, until the moment when they make it to a junkyard and they meet up with some of the other survivors, and she can feel this thing, and it's not a super intense feeling, but she feels it, and she takes off running up to the top of one of the observation towers, and she's looking off into the far distance. Apparently it's 20 kilometers away, so she can see the flashes of explosions, but she can feel the emotion of this pilot. She knows that those explosions far off in the distant night are the Gundam destroying a base.
Also, whoever the Gundam pilot is a bloodthirsty motherfucker. Like, this reminds me of Amuro, like, the second half, when he goes, like, on Earth and starts killing everything.
Yeah, this is, since this show came out on October 17th, of this year. It's currently November. I've seen a lot of memes go around on Facebook and Instagram of a lot of people referring to the Gundam EX as War Crime Gundam.
He's Canadian.
Because this pilot he's absolutely bloodthirsty. People who are running away, who've put down the weapons, he's still chasing them down, and he's using beam saber against squishy human targets on the ground. And, because it's origin timeline, Gundams have a shoulder cannon, which is either a chain gun or a mortar. The EX has a chain gun, and he's just unloading onto ground targets with, anti-armor chain gun rounds. This is a Vulcan. This is either a 20 millimeter or 30 millimeter chain gun, and he's just unloading into people. Not vehicles, not armored targets, people. Soft target.
Okay, first of all, that is a waste of ammo, really, in terms of, like, distance even. Number 2, you shoot somebody, they will literally explode outward and probably, like, be cut in two. Like, that's... Fuck you.
Yeah, and, this thing has the same, and not quite the buzz of the 30 millimeter that's on an A10, but it does have a distinct sound, so you always know when you hear it in the background, like, oh, that's the Gundam doing Gundam crimes.
Yeah.
Because there are times when you don't see this thing, but you just hear the burr, 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 getting closer and closer, like, Gundam crimes is coming.
Okay. It's called the EX, right, you said?
Yeah, it's the RX-78-0E -X01. There's a long fucking name, so the shortened form is everyone just the Gundam EX or Gundam Experimental.
Okay, his should be specifically Gundam EXWC.
No, because then people might think it's an X-War criminal.
Okay. WC Gundam EX. There we go.
There you go. Well, see, the OG Gundam, the Gundam we all love and know, the RX-78-2, Amuro's Gundam, that's Grandpa Gundam. Everyone knows the Grandpa Gundam. And this is War Crime Gundam. Or there's just Crime Gundam.
Makes sense. Great Grandpa.
Like, throughout the years, the almost 50 years of the Gundam franchise now, most people have equated the Federation with the U.S. or the UN or just, the American military and stuff like that. And I would say the creation of the Gundam EX aligns it more accurately with the Federation is Canada.
The fuck? The Federation is Oh, okay, now I get it. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Yeah, I can agree with that. Oh.
Geneva suggestions.
Like, the one thing I like about this kind of storytelling, that Gundam goes on both sides, specifically in the Universal Century, so you can see, like, yes, the Federation is supposed to be the good guys, but then you're like, fuck, everybody's fucked in this.
Yeah, like, that's always been the true appeal of the Gundam franchise, especially all the different parts of the franchise that are set in the 1 year war that follow the kind of war between the Federation and Zeon. It's neither side is good. Like, yeah, you in your mind, in your brain, you want to pick these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. But when you really sit and you watch and you hear the stories and you see what's happening and you think of what these events from both sides, especially when you have the shows that tell from both sides, you can kind of see it as, well, neither one of these, people, like neither one of these teams are actually good, but also neither one of them is really bad either. Like, the Federation is just trying to bring order to the space colonies and to Earth, and they're trying to have a one government to rule everything and keep things ordered and civilized, and not exploit, but utilize everything at their disposal. Which, as new types, people who lived in space for a long time start developing, and they start realizing they have these powers, like, oh, those should be really useful to us because these people are really, really good at using different machinery with less training. So that makes sense, and we should just start recruiting them for construction projects, for military projects, for things like that. Because we don't have to spend years training these people. You just put them in a cockpit and they figure this shit out on their own.
Which, okay, just to be a little modern or contemporary, is how, like, our generation picked up technology. Other people couldn't do it, we figured it out.
Yeah.
Like, even nowadays, I can figure out how to use a different program in a computer. It'll take me a little bit, because I'm older now, but I can do it, Nowadays, even little kids are just like, the fuck does that do? It's a button. Click on it. Where's the screen to click on? There's no screen.
Yeah, we're in that weird generation of people born in the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, who we went through the transition of different technologies. So, and like, nobody had used the technology before us. It was developed in our lifetimes. And like, figure this shit out. You're probably going to be using it for the rest of your life. Whereas we have kids now who have always had this technology. So when you give them something less complicated, like, I don't know how to use that. Or you give them something more complicated, and like, the fuck am I supposed to do with that? How does that work? Like, they're just so used to, well, but I have this thing and it does the thing. Yeah, but now you have a thing that can do it better, but you have to learn how to use it. But I have a thing that does the thing. This is a better thing. But this thing does that thing.
Which is a weird combination of, like, being set in your ways, but at the same time, like, not caring about the advance of technology.
You know what I call it?
What?
A lot of people call it, the Gen G or Gen Alpha, the iPad kid thing.
Yeah.
I call it the iPhone conundrum.
How so?
iPhone is the thing that does a thing. And every time a new version of the iPhone comes out, it's not better. But when they finally add something that makes it better, Android's been doing it for years. And it's like, look, my thing can finally do this thing that I've wanted it to do for years. Yeah, this thing that you say is too complicated for you? Yeah. It's been doing that for the last 15 years. Like, the most recent iOS update, iOS 18, they finally got a calculator. The iPad now has a calculator.
Okay, wait.
I mean, iPhones have had calculators for years, but the iPad now, because of the newest operating system, now has a calculator.
Okay, wait. But I thought supposedly, like, Apple was charging people for use of that calculator or some shit.
There's some specialty programs that go along with it that they're charging for, but just the fact that once you download iOS 18, you now have a working calculator.
That's fucking weird, but yeah. Okay.
Now, their calculator is awesome because it will also do handwriting, and so you can take your finger and write on the touchscreen, and it will take that, and then you can just hit the plus and minus, and it will give you the answer in the closest approximation to mimic your handwriting for how you wrote out that problem.
Eat your heart out, GD people.
So, it's cool. They did make the technology useful, and it's a little bit better, and the fact that you can go through your notes and take stuff that you say you were in a class and you scribbled out a bunch of equations and you took a picture of it and it's in your notes. You can take that, import it into the calculator, and the calculator will start doing the equations for you. So they made it awesome. But it took them 20 fucking years to say calculator.
God damn.
Where those of us who've been using Androids, we've had that shit from day one.
I remember when I was still in college, okay? I literally had, before the not flip phone, what are they called? Before the foldable phones, I had the early version of that. I forgot what it was called, but it was like a Kyocera phone back in those days.
Yeah. I remember those.
And it had 2 screens, okay? There was an app, it's probably illegal now, but there was an app that had a graphing calculator on your phone. And this was back in the days of Android 5.
Yeah.
And I used that every single time I went to my math class. I cannot imagine having to buy the entire $100 calculator. Okay, I literally had it for free. I was fucking lucky.
Yeah. But it's also, it works the opposite way too. I am an Android user.
Right.
I love it. I can pick up almost any Android device and I just know how it works. I know where to look for things. I know how to use it. I know the different apps. I know which apps I can download, which ones I shouldn't download, which ones are safe, which ones aren't. I just know how Android works. I've been using Android phones for almost 20 years now. My wonderful fiance has an iPhone, and all the time I'm like, I can't use your phone, babe. It's so simple, it's complicated. But when it's working, when she unlocks her phone for me and hands it to me and shows me where I have to go to use some of her apps are better. They do function better. And once you're in the app, it's oh, that's super simple. I get how that works. It's the whole, there's a 5-step process on how the fuck to get there, though. It's not slide my screen, there's my app.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way about Linux. I really want to switch to Linux from Windows, but at the same time, I'm like...
Because Linux is such an awesome operating system.
It is, but it's so
everything is a
weird.
20-step process.
Yes!
But when you know those steps, it's so easy to use. At work, the lotto machines are Linux-based.
No, yeah. Wow.
So, there's, to do a simple reboot, there are 5 things that you have to go through in the menu to make it do a simple system reboot. And then you have to do that every couple of weeks. That's not a big issue. But if you don't know the sub menus that you have to open to get to the fucking reboot menu,
You're lucky there's a sub-menu, okay? Some people still have to do, or prefer to do, command line.
There's no keyboard for the Lotto machine. So
Of course there isn't.
So they had to make a touchscreen sub-menu, but you have to know which things you have to open.
Fine.
There's a port to plug a keyboard in, and I bet some motherfuckers would like to use the keyboard. And older machines, like when I was at one of the other locations of the stores, we had the keypad, the physical keypad that's mounted to the side of it, and you don't have to slide through the touchscreen. Then you can literally just start typing shit. It doesn't matter what screen you're on, you can just start typing on the keypad, and it will do the thing.
Is it one's on top or on the side?
It's on the side, but it's a vertical keypad.
Oh, okay.
So it's an entire keyboard, but it's orientated vertically.
Okay, then.
And like I said, you can just, no matter what screen you're on, a lot of machines, they have 3 or 4 screens, you can just start typing, and it does the thing. No matter what the thing you're trying to do, which it does it, is you start typing on the physical keypad that's built into this older model machine. Versus my store has a newer model machine that's only the touchscreens. Which, again, a little easier to use, but you still have to know where in the menu stuff is. But I've used Linux, so I know about the whole, I bet if I open that and then open that, that's where that is. And then I was like, I was right. I like to change the skin on it all the time.
You freak people
you
out.
can change the way the colors and everything look. I do it like almost every time I restart it. I like the pretty colors. I don't like the default tan. They got a blue one. They got a purple one. I like the purple one. It's all pastels.
Okay, back to the movie. Back to the series.
Back to the series.
All right. Basically, War Crime Gundam comes in, fucks shit up, and she's like, no, revenge, and yeah.
Yeah, it not only destroys the base that they just captured, but proceeds to kill
80%, 90% of their forces?
A good 90% of their forces, plus 2 of the 4 members of her squad. Like, it goes from her, 2 experienced soldiers, and this new, fresh boot that they just got who doesn't know shit, to her and the fresh recruit. That's it. That's Wolf Squadron. The Red Wolves, I'm sorry.
And they have like Zaku tank? Tank?
Yeah, they steal a broken Zaku tank
and
that can only drive in reverse.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. Because she had a Zaku and then it killed it.
Yeah, it destroyed her Zaku. And then she comes up with a plan to try to stop it by blowing up a fuel truck. And now, mind you, this is the Gundam. And through all the media of Gundam, we have seen, especially from Amuro's Gundam, that the shield that the Gundam carries, which is literally just a piece of the plate armor that goes on a battleship that they put a handhold on. Like, yeah, it's painted red and it's got the Federation emblem on it, but literally, like, that's all it was meant to be. Like, that's canonically what the shield is. It's just a lump of the lunar titanium that has a handhold on it.
It's strong, but it's not that strong. This thing makes it look
they're super strong. Like, when the machine guns are firing at it, they cannot rip through it. But they can cut through it with the heat hawks and stuff. And the same thing's happening here, but like, again, these people don't know that the Federation have mobile suits. This is their first time they've seen a Federation mobile suit, so they're like, oh, well, we've been using mobile suits for the last 2 years, and for this entire war, this year of this war, the last 11 months, we've been dominating using mobile suits. There's no way this one mobile suit is better than ours. So they just unload into it. This thing eats whole magazines of 120 millimeter machine gun fire.
Yeah,
it took a rocket to the face and didn't flinch. And this is an anti-mobile suit rocket. It got hit in the chest with an anti-ship round and didn't even dent the armor.
It shrugged it off.
So then her plan to at least slow it down is to park a fuel truck at its feet and blow it up with a cannon round. It's a 180 millimeter cannon round. And everyone's just like, how the fuck did it survive that? Wow, this thing is just covered in burning fuel, and it doesn't even activate its exhaust vents. Like we so used to see in the OG Gundam all the time, when in a heavy fight, the Grandpa Gundam, the ARC-78-2, is constantly venting.
Yeah, like, okay, this Grandpa Gundam makes the RX-7802 look like a chump. Like,
yeah, the
legit,
EX is putting Grandpa to shame here. Like,
okay, fine, great Grandpa.
Like, this is
Wartime is great Grandpa.
This is literally like, this thing is coming in online in November. Amuro's Gundam, the Grandpa Gundam, the OG Gundam, came online in September. In 2 fucking months. Yeah, your shit's obsolete, Grandpa. And that's just because the Gundam finally came to Earth, so they took all the data that they learned from Amuro, flailing about for a couple weeks in space until he got to Earth. And then it's like, oh, well, if that's what happens if we put someone who doesn't know what they're doing in this thing, what happens if we put someone who actually knows what they're doing in it, plus all his combat data?
Okay, what if also it's because of the gravity? Like, specifically, somebody who's used to gravity and they made this Gundam specifically for Earth.
Well, they did, because the EX Gundam is specifically the prototype ground Gundam. This is what later, for those who are fans of 8th MS Team, this is the prototype that eventually becomes the EZ-8.
Oh.
So, yeah, this was designed to fight in gravity, which is why it's so fast. Its boosters are so powerful. And again, this thing's not wearing half of its armor. Like, the EZ-8 is heavily armored compared to this thing. And the boosters were designed for, yeah, we're going to strap 100 tons of armor to it. Well, they only have 60 tons of armor on it right now.
Okay, how much of this is they didn't have the right equipment and, like, artistic license to be like, it's a menacing, like, evil thing?
About 50-50.
Oh, goddamn.
Like,
okay.
About 50-50 is, we need an awesome prototype, but we have to be within canon. And then the other 50% is, well, can we just make shit up? You can do something awesome. It's your show, but it has to exist within the canon.
Maybe this is one of those cases where it's like, we made this fucker to spec completely. It can take on anything, tank anything. And then like, okay, that's too fucking expensive. And then the later on one was like, this is weaker, but it is still a badass.
That's pretty much what it is. The prototypes are always way more advanced, way more badass than they're meant to. Like, well, that's kind of what we see in War in the Pocket. The Alex, gun, that's the GP, not the GP, the RX-78-2-3NT, which is the prototype new type variant Gundam that they were building specifically for Amuro, which is why every time they're in a test, they're like, what kind of monster could actually use these controls? They weren't meant for a normal human. They were meant for Amuro, the fucking new type who's fucking space psychic who just knows when shit's going to happen.
This reminds me of those, like, there are a few people I've met who can do this, but, like, those people who have, like, they're really good at singing, and then you put them in a piano and they touch a couple keys, and then suddenly they can just play.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, they can't play well. They can't play an entire, like, concerto and shit, but they can play the right keys. They get the idea immediately.
Yeah. You can show them sheet music and they will play those notes. There's no real soul behind it because they're just plunking notes, but it's like, they're just playing. They're playing sheet music as written.
Exactly. Like, eventually they'll probably get some soul, just not yet.
Yeah, it takes practice for that, but you can just plunk them down and either from ear or from the sheet music, they can play it as they heard it.
Exactly, yeah.
There's a YouTuber that I follow called The Do who does that. That's his name. His name's The Do. But he does that where, like, he'll do... he does videos where he's just playing guitar randomly on, like, Omegle or whatever new, like, Megal TV thing. What took over for Omegle when it got shut down.
Yeah.
where he'll like, hey, want me to play a song for you? Like, yeah. Like, and people give him requests like, I haven't heard of that one before. Give me a second, and he will look it up on YouTube, listen to it for a second, like, and then you'll see he that's kind of plunk dun dun dun. Oh yeah, I got it, and then he'll just play his version of it. Like,
yeah.
dude, you just learned an entire song, then improvised it so you could get around the copyright claim from listening to 30 seconds. That's playing by ear. That's one of those people. He has perfect pitch. Like he said this. He's been tested for it. He does have perfect pitch, but to be able to hear a bit of a song, then improvise it so that you can't get copyright claimed against it in 30 seconds to a minute. So back to the show. I know we go off on tangents.
Yeah, we do.
There will be a second episode on this show. We were going to also do episodes 4, 5, and 6. This is just episodes 1, 2, and 3. So episode 2, they escape. They get away from this base that the Gundam is attacked, and they are making their way towards another base or just to link up with more Federation troops. And they get stopped by
Zeon, not Federation.
Federation. They're trying to catch up with more Zeon troops, and they get stopped by a Federation checkpoint, and have to kind of fight their way through. And again, this shows the relentlessness of this pilot, and part of what makes this Gundam so scary in this show is they've been driving through the night. They've been running from this thing for hours. They assumed that it stopped chasing them at some point, because if it was a Zaku, it would have run out of fuel by now. Because there is fuel in the boosters for how those boosters work.
Right.
Like the suit itself is powered by a reactor, but it still needs fuel to actually move the arms and legs and stuff. So, like, a Zaku would have burnt through most of its fuel or all of its fuel if it was running through the night like that. So when they see... Like, they think they're clear at a checkpoint, and then all of a sudden, Solari gets another premonition. So, like, everybody get out! And she has everybody jump out of the broken Zaku tank that they're in, seconds before a beam round from the EX's beam rifle hits. And they're just like, they're just staring dumbfoundedly at this thing. And Jorge's love of this show... I forget her name now. Haley Aaron, who is out chick to hell, piercings, tattoos, full sleeves, everything, dyed pink hair. She is cute. But
She is like, oh, she's cute. She's a badass. Like,
she's
her
sarcastic.
tattoos,
She's
fuck.
witty. She's very unsoldier like for somebody who's a frontline combat, like an infantryman.
bruh. Like, okay.
Her general appearance.
Okay, appearance-wise, yes. I was going to say personality-wise, no.
She's doing everything possible to not be to military dress standard.
I mean...
But while also being a badass soldier. But she sees this thing out the window in the distance on the hill, and just the panic in her voice, but also that fear and despair. You hear it come through. This is a beautifully voice-acted line of, "It followed us." To think that they ran all through the night, burning all their fuel in their trucks, and in this Zaku tank, to get to this checkpoint, to try to get to the next area, and the Zaku the Gundam just followed them.
Like, this reminds me of that meme about you can have anything you want, but there will always be a snail following you, and if it catches you, you die, type thing. Only a lot fucking more menacing.
Yeah, except this thing followed them more like Jason.
Yeah.
Or Michael Myers, where it didn't put a lot of effort into it, but it's still just barely behind them. So they proceed to just do their best to escape from it, and they ended up getting saved by 2 Gulfs. But these Gulfs, who, again, longtime Gundam fan, we're used to seeing Gulfs, especially the Gulf customs that they're piloting. the ones with the chain guns attached to the shield and the big sword. Like, these things are usually badasses. Like, our first introduction to the Goof is Ramba Rao going against Amuro and yelling, "This is no Zaku, boy! No Zaku!" And proceeding to kick the ever-living shit out of him. The Gundam EX just easily bodies these two fucking Goofs. Like, he's outnumbered. There's 2-1. And he is bodying these fucking things.
Like, okay, the original series does make Amuro look like a badass, but at the same time, somewhat realistic because, one, he's a rookie. Two, he can only body so much.
Yeah, the point for the Ramba fight, which is a very important point, which is something we see, which I think is part of the point that they're trying to make here, is Amuro versus Ramba is, it's not the fact that Amuro has the better mobile suit.
He does.
On paper, Grandpa Gundam beats a standard Gulf every day. But Ramba Rao is a 20-year military veteran who is a fighter pilot. He's a tank commander. And then when they started the mobile suit project, was one of the first volunteers to learn how to pilot a mobile suit. This is a man whose entire life has been combat and combat vehicles. So this is what happens when you put an experienced pilot in any machine versus an amateur in the best machine. Which is why Ramba Rao kicks the shit out of Amuro. And here, like, we haven't seen the Gundam pilot, the pilot of the EX yet. But this is one of those, it's meant to probably be the opposite of, this is what happens when you take a suit programmed with Amuro's combat data and then put an actual pilot in it, not just some kid that they recruited off the street who happened to dumb luck his way into the cockpit one day.
Yeah.
So when you put somebody with some form of experience into a suit with that, with, you know, Gundams are they have a learning computer, so you can put old data you already have into it, plus it learns from your pilot's skill as it uses it. So all of Amuro's combat data up to this point. So all those fights he had with Char in space, because literally from day one, the Grandpa Gundam had been running and fighting with Char, multiple Zakus,
the Guffs,
Rickdoms. He fought a Goof. He fought tank squadrons. He fought fighter squadrons. He fought against ships. Like, all of that combat data, put into this and then put a real pilot in it. And then give it equal weaponry. So it makes sense that, you know, maybe these Goof pilots aren't the best pilots. They're just good enough to be in the more elite suit, because the Goof is an elite suit versus a Zaku. So they'd earned the better suit. That doesn't mean they're necessarily ace pilots. Not, at least on Ramba Rao's capability. Level. Or, for, again, Gundam fans, the ace pilot we've ever seen in a Goof custom, which is what we're seeing in this show, is Norris Nash. Or just Norris. Anyway, Captain Norris from 8th MS Team. The guy who, in a single Goof custom, takes out all 3 gun tanks and beats the ever-living shit out of the EZ-8.
I forgot, but okay.
Yeah, so it's like this one Zaku. But again, it's not the Zaku. The Zaku custom is a good suit. It's an elite suit compared to a Zaku. It's a better version of the standard Goof that Ramba Rao piloted. But Norris is another one of those combat veterans he's always been a part of the military, given a good suit, versus a bunch of new recruits.
Like, Solari, at least from the looks of it, has been at least fighting since the beginning of this war.
Yeah, so Solari was in the Battle Loom, which was one of the first battles. So Solari has been fighting almost since day one of this war. So she's not a newbie. But she pilots Zakus. The mass-produced, they have 1,000 of them. They are they're basically the gun fodder unit. Because oh, who cares if they destroy one? We've got fucking 8,000 more of them. Until the Gundams came into the fight, and then it's like, oh, shit. We need to start digging Zaku 1s back out of the storage and start putting them back on the front line.
Like, okay, the Gundam fights through basically every single mobile suit or machine heavy attacker that they have, like a hot knife through butter.
Oh, yeah, like it's eating tank rounds, it's taking the machine gun rounds, which the machine guns are firing the same rounds as the tanks. I think the tanks are 105 millimeter, and the Zaku machine gun is 125 millimeter. And it's just eating them, like it doesn't matter to them. And it is fighting hand to hand with its beam saber versus the heat sabers that the Guffs have.
Right.
And just straight up sword to sword combat and holding its own.
And faster.
Yeah, its reaction time is so much faster. And like we end episode 2 on Solari and the rest of the wounded soldiers that are left over from the first attack escaping in trucks and making it through. But the Gundam just stopped. Like, it kills the second Guff pilot and beheads the Guff and just stands there staring at them, and everyone looks like it stopped.
And we'd have no fucking idea why.
It's almost like it's letting them go. It's toying with them. Which brings us to episode 3, Junkyard.
Very good name for this one.
It is, because they make it to this junkyard. It's a recycling facility where they've been taking basically all the scraps from the war. Like, you know, tanks that have been decommissioned because they're just too heavily damaged to fix. So it's like, okay, we're going to send them here. We're going to scavenge every usable bit of material off of this thing and junk the rest. They got Zaku's, they got Joe Googs, they got they got Doms, not Rick Doms, but they have Doms. They've got bits and pieces of all the different mobile suits and a bunch of the different tanks, the fighters, all of that. Just because, again, they're scavenging. They're trying to prolong the war as much as possible by, like, okay, if this is a usable part, we can put it on a suit that actually needs it better. Like the computer from this Zaku doesn't work at all, but the armor's good. Peel all that armor off so we can repair another suit while, you know, junk that computer. Or this one is a good cockpit, but all the rest of it's useless, so let's extract that cockpit computer and put it in this one.
I understand recycling. I even agree with it, just in terms of, like, even, like, not throwing away, like, waste. Like, kind of mass-produced stuff is usually just thrown away, but at this point it's like, okay, they're trying to reuse stuff, melt it down again, make something new, shit like that. But at the same time, it's like, shouldn't these guys be repairing shit? You guys were winning the war, and then suddenly the Gundam comes in, the second Gundam, it's like...
Well, they are, but, like, this facility isn't in charge of repairs. They're in charge of acquiring the raw materials. So there's a functional reactor that has no damage. Pull that reactor out and ship it to the people who fix shit.
Like, I wonder if they ever took, like, the broken off pieces of Gundam or some shit to get some lunar titanium. They're like, okay, we need to study this shit, or we can use this shit on this specific part of a...
They did. Later in the war, they start scavenging gems because the gems are mass produced.
Right.
And they'll replace a leg with a Zaku leg. They replace the camera because gems are mono eye.
Right.
They put the Zaku mono eye in them, but they'll keep the gem head because it's got a better visor. So the camera has a better field of vision.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll give it a Zaku machine gun because they don't have the technology to get the rechargeable eye caps that are basically the magazines for the beam guns that it use.
That's a weird thing, because, like, every time we see the representation of Zeon, like, they can do pretty much anything, and it looks like older technology, probably on purpose, but at the same time, when you do the same thing with the Federation, they're like, we can't use that shit. Like, we don't have the technology, it's not convertible. And basically Zeon is like, really? We did it.
Well, the Federation did, like, one of the first non-official mobile suits by the Federation. It's called the Zanny, and it is before the GM became a thing. They started kind of making parts as a part of the V project, which became the Gundam, the V project.
Weren't those things pieces of shit?
They were, because they were Zaku's that they ripped the head off of. They put a GM head on it, and they're like, well, we don't like those legs, so they put the GM legs. They left the Zaku legs on it, but they took the cooling pipes off.
Oh God!
Because they didn't realize they had a purpose. So these things would overheat. They had no armor because they weren't made of lunar titanium. They were just Zaku's with a different head and a different paint scheme. They had the GM chest, but it was made out of the same steel that a Zaku was made out of. It's just squared up.
Like, it's fucking weird. It's like aesthetics meets, what is it called?
Yeah. I think the early days was, we're going to scavenge and backwards engineer. And then the Professor Minovsky, the creator of the Minovsky Protocol, defected, and he helped them make the first miniaturized generator, which became the default generator that was in the Gundam. So it's like, wait, this new generator is better than the ones he made for the Zeon. Like, yeah, because he didn't think they were going to use it for what they were using it for, and he was ashamed of it. He hated that they turned his reactors, instead of being this peaceful thing to give power to anyone, into weapons of war. So he figured out how to make it more efficient, gave it to the Federation, and then it's like, wait, so we figured out that we got this metal that we've been putting on ships. It's super heavy, so it only works in space. We have a reactor powerful enough that we could move anything with it? Yeah. They built the Gundam.
Okay, this is weird, but it reminds me of, like, the beginnings of World War II, where a bunch of German and Jewish and other physicists were like, okay, we're going to get fucked. Let's go to the U.S. now. You know, like, they all tried to leave.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. It was like at the very beginning of the war, right after the war started, and Minovsky saw what the Zeons were actually doing with his reactors. He defected. All the Federation scientists were like, they were taught by him, but they weren't as smart as him. Like, once he defected and started giving them the plans for, look, these are the generators that are in Zaku. Here's how you can make it better. And then the Zeon killed him. But not before he defected and gave them the plans. So then Amuro's father, Ray, was one of Minovsky's students who took that new data, like, oh my God, this will work. We can make better mobile suits.
It's just like, obviously Japan, World War II, and all of this shit, it's very archetypal almost.
Yeah.
And it's like the war, the weapons, the better weapons, the geniuses, and I don't know how the new types fit in there, but it's awesome is what it is.
Yeah, the new types were weird because, like, their reaction speeds were so good, they started realizing that regular mobile suits don't work for them. Like, Zeon took longer to figure that out. So it took them longer to start making specific mobile suits for new types to pilot. But that's because none of the Zeon suits had the learning computers. The RX-78-2, the Grandpa Gundam that Amuro had the learning computer in it. So it was recording all of Amuro's data. It's like, he's yanking on the control lever before the sensors notice something's coming. He's reacting before this thing happens. The technology can't keep up with him. So when you build a suit specifically for him, which is, after the 1 year war, it's the 0080, which is at the end of the war when they start building the Alex for him, specifically for him, and you have a normal pilot piloting it, and she's the only one who can barely keep it under control, and everyone else is like, what kind of monster uses those controls? Amuro uses those controls.
That guy.
The guy who needs to know some shit's coming at him before the sensors can tell him, so he's already moving in the opposite direction. I mean, you have to have that precognition to use the Alex. You have to have that precognition to use, which is, you know, what you see in Char's counterattack, the new Gundam, which is the Gundam Amuro specifically built, like he designed it. It's like, okay, here's all my combat data. Here's what I can do in a cockpit. I need you to build it so that I can't move faster than it. They're like, but you move faster than everything. Exactly. I need you to build something smarter than me. The psychic who designed it.
The only thing that comes to mind is the lady who fell in love with both Char and Amuro and then died. Like, maybe she could design it, I think.
Well, the Char designed her own suit. That's what she ended up dying in.
Then he didn't design her a suit. He designed her a coffin.
I mean, technically Amuro is the one that killed her.
Okay, so they both helped her get into the ground. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little mean, but still.
Well, she never made it to the ground. She turned into space dust that haunted both of their memories for the rest of their lives. While constantly trying to get them to, hey, come join me in eternity. We are one with the cosmos. We can see all of everything. The past, the present, the future, reality. Join me. Become one with me.
Yeah, this sounds vaguely like...
literally, you should die and join me, Amuro. Char will kill you, and he will be happy. Char, you can join me. Just let Amuro kill you. She's luring them both to their death.
This sounds like, what do you call it? Sirens from fucking, like, pirate ages and shit.
Basically.
Ugh. Jesus, no. Like, okay, back to the series. Specifically. They get to the junkyard.
So while they're in the junkyard, the major who runs the junkyard is
Ralph René.
Dick. He's French.
Yep.
Ralph René. René. Baguette.
He's an asshole. He's an officer.
An asshole of the highest
way.
caliber.
Huh?
He's an asshole of the highest caliber.
Yes.
What he is he is a career soldier who went to officer school, not combat experience.
Like, okay.
He got promoted because he went to school, not because he actually knows anything.
Any officer should listen to a more experienced anything. Like, frickin', what was that show we saw with the new lieutenant and the sergeant who knew everybody?
Oh, Band of Brothers.
That's it, Band of Brothers. Like, what the fuck? Like, he fucked up so many fucking times.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like, you do get a little of that here, which is why Captain Zydos, Alfie,
yes,
like, he can kind of manipulate René a bit by telling him something. And it's listen to the guy with experience versus the guy with rank. Like, you might outrank him, but he knows more than you.
Yeah, I mean, it's humbling, but at the same time, you need that kind of humility, especially when you need to ask for help.
Yeah. And so we have we didn't mention it, but the new recruit to Red Wolf Squadron, LaShawn, is the survivor who's with Solari, and Solari is just she knows that the Gundam is coming. It's still hunting them down, and she comes up with the idea that she runs by Alfie of, you have a little army of mechanics here and a junkyard full of parts. Like, I know your job is to take these things apart, but you could put a couple back together, right? They're like, you want us to put Zaku together from this junk around here? Like, yeah, give us a fighting chance. Like, we're gonna die. If this thing comes for us, we're gonna die. At least if we have a Zaku, we have a chance to run. She's not saying that they can win. She's saying they can survive. She's seen the reality firsthand of the Gundam. She's not holding out hope of beating this thing. She just doesn't want more people to die needlessly.
And then when they put this thing together, it's got parts from every fucking thing you can think of, and then it even has, what's the name of that armor that can come off, like, once it's burned or hit?
Oh, it's got a blade of armor.
That's it.
They've layered shields on top of it for its shoulder shields instead of just having the one slab. They made a battle dress to help it deflect the chain gun rounds. They took the treads off of some of the tanks and then welded them to the regular armor especially around the cockpit, to help up armor the cockpit and the reactor.
The one thing that you don't see in this show, at least so far, the Gundam takes down the Zaku and the Gulf, but
he's aiming for the cockpits. He is specifically avoiding the reactors.
Okay, I was gonna say, because like Amuro, every other show hit a reactor. I swear.
It took them actually slapping Amuro and telling him, "Stop hitting the reactor, you dumb fuck."
I thought it... Okay.
Like, first time Bright slaps him is literally the, "Stop blowing them up! You're gonna kill us!"
Like, it's because I thought... I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. He was inexperienced, and then at the same time I was like, okay, he's fucking aiming for it at this point.
He was!
Motherfucker!
Well, no, like, the first time he did it was a pure accident. He just kind of accidentally hit it in the reactor. But then he realized, oh, that's a weak spot. He kept aiming for it, and they had to remind him, stop doing that. You're gonna kill us if you keep blowing them up like that. Like, oh, okay, you literally just aim an inch higher. Hit the cockpit. Hit the cockpit. Like, kill the pilot. Don't blow up the mobile suit. And this pilot had the benefit of having that combat data. So it's like, oh, if we move a quarter of an inch to the left and an inch higher, cockpit. And so they proceed to build. They do not have permission to do this, but Solari, she gives her rousing speech to the mechanics because Alfie told her, like we might have the parts and we might have the ability, but I am not going to be the one who convinces these people of it. You have to convince them to do this.
Which was weird. After she gave her speech, pretty good speech, everybody was like looking at each other like, fuck it, yeah! Like,
yeah,
it was...
Because, like, well, they've seen just all the injured soldiers pouring in, because this is, like, the last outpost that anyone knows of in the area, and they're like, you know what? If she's saying we can at least survive long enough to get out of here, if she's fighting, fuck it. Let's do this. Because, again, her whole point of her speech is not, we're going to beat it, we're going to win. It's, you're going to want us as your shields while you run.
Yeah. It's a suicide mission, but somebody's got to do it, literally.
Yeah. And, of course, major asshole, he finds out about it, and he's like, get out of my base. No, we're putting an end to this. You're done. Like, if we hide, it won't kill us. You're like, it knows we're here. It's like, but that's your problem, not my problem. Lure it away. Like, but I need the mobile suits for that. No, because that will draw attention.
Like, I understand where he's coming from. Hiding has worked for him for I don't know how long so far.
He does have a fair point. He's just trying to protect his people as best he can, and the best he can do is lay low. But Warcrime Gundam is coming because it's trying to kill. It's got a war crime counter going, and it hasn't hit 100 yet.
I was putting it more akin to that. I forgot the name of the game, but with the game where everybody has to hide or do something, like it's a multiplayer game, and like Jason or something comes to fight you and kill you.
Oh, like I know there's actually a Friday the 13th game like that. Not a Friday the 13th. There's a Halloween game like that, and there's a Friday the 13th. Keep saying Friday the 13th. Jason.
Yeah, there's a game like that, and like that's kind of what it reminds me of. Like, okay, it killed most in your party. It killed somebody else in your party, and there's like 2 people left. It's gonna win the game if you don't defeat it.
Yeah.
Because like even in the game, it's like they do the actual slow but fast moving.
Yeah. Well, like in the one with Jason, they literally gave him the special ability that is it's a canonical special ability he has. He can teleport.
Yeah.
He always knows where somebody is, and he knows when they're trying to escape, so he can just go there. He can't go right to where they're at, but he can go close enough where he can try to stop them.
Yeah, War Crime Gundam is basically Jason.
Yes, because he does that. He's just there. But yeah, so Major Asshole, Major Renee. He's also an alcoholic, so no. He's very much a military officer.
Now, you said he was a high caliber asshole, right?
He is the highest caliber asshole.
Okay. Is he high caliber enough that if you put him in a gun, he would pierce the lunar titanium?
Possibly. Possibly. So while he's just reading Solari and LaShawn and Alfie the Riot Act for putting these things together and saying like what a waste it is, and like they need to either dismantle them or cover them in camouflage netting, anything so that they don't draw attention. And they're trying to convince him that it's needed. You got a bunch of saberfish come and do a quick bombing run of the base, which are the Federation fighters. And then everyone turns to see where that came from, and you hear the brrr of the chain gun as it rips through the hangar, and you see in the distance War Crime Gundam slowly standing up. He's got the setting sun behind him, and they're like, oh, it's here. And then coming from over the hill, a GM with a bazooka on its shoulder just stands shoulder to shoulder with the Gundam, and he brought a friend. And we fade to black as the Gundam and the GM start charging over the hill.
The heat is on.
The heat is on. Like, this is an awesome show. Like, again, the sense of scale between humans and mobile suits, the sense of fear and panic that would go through you for seeing this unknown enemy just decimating your forces. You even have a point where you have like Alfie, like he's making this valid point of, we came to Earth. We're the invaders. We came to their home and are trying to take it from them. And they're just doing whatever they can to stop us. And LaShawn, because he's a new recruit, he's a newbie, he's like, well, you sound like an Earth sympathizer. Like, no, far from it. But it's the reality. We are wrong here. But we're going to follow our orders anyways.
Okay. Yes, but at the same time, it's like, again, the realities of war. Like, we're in the wrong, kind of, but at the same time, we're trying to correct something that they are doing wrong to us. So yeah, it's a two. Like, there is no wrong or right in this case. Not really.
He does make all the point of, the Federation's been exploiting them. They're taxing them. They're using their labor. They're forcibly, they're conscripting them into their military. Like, they're not giving. Like, they don't even have a representative in the government. Because they're in the colonies. The colonies have no say. Earth controls everything. So, that's the wrong part. Federation is wrong for that. They're trying to exert their control. And they're not giving people any say in their own government, their own autonomy. But, the Zeon are an invading army. Like, when the fighting was in space amongst the colonies, and it was Federation-backed colonies and Zeon-backed colonies just fighting with each other, that's one thing. That's space fights. When you take the fight to Earth, to the seat of government for the Federation, when you are oppressing people in their homes, you're wrong for that. You're the invading military. And these people are now backed against the wall. They're in that desperate, like, you've had them at the beginning of the war in fight or flight mode, where they either fight against you or flee. You're in their home now. There is no flee. This is only fight. So they're fighting harder. They're throwing everything they can at you. And that's the reality of it. And it's like, Alfie's not sympathizing with the Earth. He's just pointing out the reality of, we've put them against a wall. They don't have a choice but to fight against us now.
Yep.
He's still holding out that they're going to win. He's giving the points of, they've been exploiting us. They're taking advantage of us. We have to win this so we can be independent. Because the Zeon called the 1 Year War the Revolutionary War for Independence. They're not calling it the 1 Year War. They're not calling it the war against the Federation. It's the Revolutionary War, or the War for Independence, or the War for Sovereignty. They don't want to crush the Federation. They just want the Federation to acknowledge that Side 3 is its own sovereign nation. Like, realistically, if the Federation would just accept that, the war would end.
And now we have to see the conclusion, so...
Yes. So, this is going to be the end of this episode. So, for now, we will say good night and bye-bye. I'll say it for Jorge. Keep the faith. Be good to one another. And bye-bye.
See you, everybody.